McAfee. Yeah.
That sounds like a new Pokemon name.
McAfee. Ah, fun,
They just
fun.
get drunk and try to say like the letters and names and words really
Yeah.
fast, and that's how they come up with the Pokemon names anymore.
Yep, they're like Nickelodeon. They just lock themselves in a boardroom, take acid, and let it rip.
That was always the difference between the like the Disney executives and the Nickelodeon executives. Is Disney's like, how can we make the best product possible and spare no expense back in the day? Like, I'm gonna actually compliment Disney there. Yeah. And then Nickelodeon's like, what if we took a bunch of drugs and made a children's TV show?
Shows.
Yeah, you're telling me slime is a thing that happened naturally without the help of hallucinogenics, please. Trying to get my mic set up here.
So Nickelodeon was the Hallucinogenics Kids Network. Just trippiest shows imaginable.
Alrighty, let's pop on socials here. We'll make sure we're streaming, sounding good. We look a little black and white. That's fine. You know what? Let's go a little vintage for this one. I'm feeling it. We are live. Did you miss us? Because I know I did.
You know who missed him some Jace?
Jace.
Yep.
I know. Like, yeah, you are fresh back, too. Like, you
Yeah.
got off the boat, like, 2-3 days ago. Got on a plane, and, yeah, now you're back here. Well, I guess the boat was probably a week ago.
Yeah, it was exactly a week ago. I went through a week of completely punishing my body and my liver. 2 weeks, let's be honest. And then my wallet got assaulted by Disney for 3 days, and then here we are. We're back.
It's the only mouse in this world that can actually rob you.
It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like, I mean, I can kill any of the mice at home, but all of a sudden you give them a voice and everything, and they take all of our money.
Man, when I was buying our Disney park passes, I was just like staring at my phone like, the fucking gall on this guy. Are you kidding me?
I'm going to take all of your fucking money, and you're going to love it.
Yep.
That's pretty much what Disney is anymore.
Pack that wallet if you want to go down there. I'll tell you that.
Well,
much. Expensive.
read an article this morning, too, if we're going to get off sports for a second here. What is it, like the last couple flops, like Bob Iger came out, and they're expecting some major shakeups in Disney because I don't want to sound like one of those guys, but they have gone a little too, like, woke. Like, it's just like, it's almost like, it's like a repetitive pattern of trying to be weirdly different. I don't know, like, not to get too political, but I'm not a fan of new Disney.
If South Park has to make an entire dedicated special making fun of you and your company for your wokeness, you went too far.
Thank you. That is the point. We are off politics, though, now, and we will kick it back to sports ball.
It's the sports ball.
It's the sports ball. And if you are just waking up from a coma, let us go ahead and maybe recap some of the ways that this season has been completely weird.
Let's play what happened in the NFL the last 2 weeks because Jace has not been able to watch.
Yes. So in the past couple of weeks, we have crowned Jake Browning the new Bengals quarterback and apparently MVP of the league.
Probably greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely passing Uncle Rico.
Oh, yeah.
You know, on that list of just urban legend quarterbacks.
Brady's going to have to unretire.
Yeah, I mean, there's a new GOAT in the game.
The throne has been threatened.
So do you think Joe Burrow stays in Ohio or goes back to Louisiana to sell cars after this?
Oh, they're definitely cutting him.
Yeah. I mean, you have Jake Browning on what a 6-round salary, and Joe Burrow you paid all this money
for. Yep.
Yeah, seriously.
Ship him off.
Yep. All you need is Jamar Chase and some good old JB.
Yep.
That is short for Jake Browning. Oh man, all right. Just making sure we have nobody commenting. Awesome. But yeah, so crazy time here in the past couple of weeks. Let's see what else has gone on. The Cowboys are now the champions of the NFC East, even though they're not ahead of the Eagles. So the Eagles have sputtered.
Yep.
As of late, the Cowboys have looked dominant against mid-level teams. So the same thing is happening that we usually get around December.
Yep.
And it's a Christmas present to nobody. And it's the overhyped train of the Cowboys. Every year this happens. Thanksgiving, they blow somebody the fuck out. Then they beat a team who slightly has a winning record. And now the narrative's gone. Oh, no, they can beat winning teams, right? Like, sorry, I think the Cowboys are the best team to play against bad teams. Like, if there is a Super Bowl championship for playing teams under 500, give it to the fucking Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like they put up the most points. Their defense looks dominant. Just prove it to me maybe this week against the Eagles.
Yeah, well, I mean, they really need to because they lost to the Eagles in Week 9. But you look at their schedule, and the two two of the three teams they lost to, the Niners and the Eagles. Otherwise, they've beaten they lost to the Cardinals too. I forgot about that. Otherwise, they beat the Giants twice, the Jets,
That was a different Cardinals
the
team,
Patriots,
though.
the Chargers, the Rams, the Giants, the Panthers, the Commanders, the Seahawks. I mean, you're spot on. They've got these next 4 weeks in particular are going to be absolutely telling.
Oh, they have a
to the Cowboys
stretch.
because they got the Eagles, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions. If the Cowboys win 3 of that, honestly, they're probably going to go at least to the NFC Championship game.
I will back my words up on them being pretenders if they beat the Eagles this week. I won't even give them 4 weeks. I'll give them this week. If you could beat the Eagles right now while the Eagles are struggling, even though I still believe the Eagles are a better team come January, I'll maybe start to consider Dak going past the first round.
I will
Maybe.
I'll give credit where credit's due, though, because I do think this is the best the Cowboys have looked in the past few years.
I agree.
I think right now, I do believe next to maybe the 49ers, the Cowboys are the most balanced team in the NFL. They have a solid, well-rounded, and explosive offense, and they have a very dominant defense. So they're playing super well on both sides of the ball, but they just need that to come to fruition against
A good
contending
team.
teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So Cowboys just got to prove it. But I think that if there is a year that the Cowboys could make a legitimate run, this is their year. So it'll be an interesting next 4 weeks, that's for sure.
Well, the big thing for me that if we're talking, and we can talk more about the Cowboys, I'll add this last little point. For me, there's a positive and there's a negative here of why they can win in January. The positive being defense. Defense wins championships. That's the old mantra. Cut it there. The reason they can't win in January, the run game has not looked good all year. All year. There's a couple of times against bad teams, Rico Dowdy, Tony Pollard, they start cooking up a little bit, but this has been a passing team. So
Yeah.
I think today is going to be a big teller if they can, because the Eagles could force them to be one-dimensional. But we'll talk about that when we get to that game.
Okay.
Starting off, though, we're going to have the heated matchup that pits the 5-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Atlanta to play the 6-6 Falcons. I feel
Stop Arthur Smith.
yeah.
I'm a Baker fan today.
Outside of fantasy, though, is Arthur Smith a fireable head coach?
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
Arthur Smith is a absolute football terrorist. When I run an OFAC on him at work, that fucker should flag, and I should have a SWAT team showing up to arrest him. He is an absolute criminal. I have never seen a head coach steal so much draft and just absolutely fucking waste those players and focus and highlight their backups in his offense instead of actually utilizing them. He is a moron, and he should not be coaching a head football team. And the only reason he is because of fucking nepotism. All right.
Yeah, it's because his dad owns FedEx,
Yep.
right? Yep.
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
he's
yep,
just a
yes.
billionaire.
Yeah, he's just a billionaire. It's
Yep.
good. Yeah, I'm glad to see people getting opportunities in this life that, just waltz through it.
Yep.
Big dumb fuck. Also,
Yeah.
you never should have shaved your mustache. At least, I could get behind somewhat the idiot that you are when you had that, dope ass mustache. But honestly,
Yeah.
that was, and he's a friend of the McAfee show. I want to like him.
Yeah,
But
no.
when you use Tyler Algier instead of Bijan Robinson and Jonnu Smith instead of Kyle Pitts, that's all I got to say on
Yeah,
that. Yep,
no.
that's all I got
Yeah,
to say.
he's a moron. Did you know that through, was it, so when did I go on my cruise? This would have been through week 10. Bijan Robinson had one red zone carry all year long.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You get into the red zone and you focus on Tyler Algier instead of giving it to Bijan Robinson.
Which I could maybe not blame him if Tyler Algier was bigger and better suited for the fucking red zone, but he's not.
That's exactly
He's not.
Bijan Robinson's exact skill set is he's a red zone threat.
Because
give him
he
the
keeps
ball.
the defense honest because he's either a receiving threat or he's a rush threat. In the backfield, you can't automatically
and he'll-
commit to a run the first second of the play because what if they fake it to him? What if he runs a swing pass? What if it's a screen? Like he adds so many other elements to where if you literally take him off the field, it's like, well, what the fuck are you even doing that for? If you're not even going to use him as a distraction like you use Kyle Pitts.
And that one red zone opportunity he had, I think, was in week 1, and he juked the defender out of their damn shoes.
To where, it was on Skycam, I
It
remember.
was unbelievable. So,
Because this is a team I feel like that should be better versus
be.
now shifting casually to a team who's outperformed themselves.
I love
I
the
love Tampa
Buccaneers.
Bay.
Yeah, I love them
like
this
yeah.
year.
If we can stop shit talking one
Yeah.
team and move to like praise, keep Baker.
I 100%
Baker.
agree. I think, and you know, if you've listened to the show over the past couple of years, I've been kind of a Baker truther. I've been beating my chest about him. I think the Browns. Well, I think everybody knows that the Browns did him dirty, but Baker is a much better quarterback than a lot of people are giving him credit for. His problem is his consistency. What Baker are you going to get on Sunday? But he can absolutely win you games. A year ago, yesterday, he showed up 2 days into the Rams and. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Let's not talk about
Sorry,
it.
that
Yep.
was against the Raiders, wasn't it?
I know
But
so many
anyways,
highlights the last couple of years have been against the Raiders. Jeff Saturday, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean Baker, he is a leader. Teammates love him, and he's better than at least 12 other quarterbacks in the league. So I think
I would say he's not a bottom tier starter.
No,
I would
he's
say
not.
he's firmly like, if you asked me right now today, and I hate to say this, but if you asked me today, would I start Baker Mayfield or Derek Carr on my team? It's got to be Baker.
Baker, yep.
It's got to be Baker.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Like, he gives you an opportunity to win with his legs. And he may not always be accurate. Like you said, the consistency is an issue, but you can tell the guys around him there's a moxie
Yeah.
that they buy into.
Yep.
Like Mike Evans, another 1,000-yard season, so you can at least put him on par with Jameis Winston.
Yep.
Because he's thrown a 1,000-yard season to Mike Evans. But the lack of the talent I think they have on the offensive line, on the defensive side of the ball, like their pass defense is a bottom 5 pass defense. So
Yeah.
Baker is legitimately going out there shooting it out with teams some Sundays.
Yeah, he came one Chris Godwin head turn away from beating the Bills.
Yeah, so
You know.
I don't think it's crazy to see them at this point win this game today because that's who I'm going to go with, even though the Falcons are favored by 1.5. There's an
Yep.
over-under 41 on that if you're checking your betting odds there. But I like the Bucks. I like the Bucks to walk into Atlanta today to take advantage of a struggling Arthur Smith. And hot take here, Arthur Smith gets fired after this game because they lose so bad. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Wow.
Does it happen? No. But do I want it to happen? Yes. I'm going to manifest it at
I
this moment.
love the energy. I don't think he gets fired till after the season.
10% chance that happens if they lose.
I think that once the Falcons get eliminated from playoff contention, he gets fired, but I don't think it happens this week.
Yeah, send that motherfucker packing in a UPS package.
Can you imagine the Falcons if they got like a bright offensive-minded head coach next year
And a quarterback.
and a quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go find anybody in this draft class. Even because right now they are projected, I think, to win. They're in the lead of the NFC South. So if they make the playoffs, unfortunately, they're going to be drafting in late the 20s. And this is going to be like if you left Florida State out of the college football playoff, you need to leave Atlanta out of the fucking NFL playoffs.
Yep.
But unfortunately, at this rate, it looks like they might make it. And but God, if you can get this team a quarterback,
Yeah.
and a head coach. Whew.
If they
Watch out.
get Justin Fields next year, watch out.
Because whoever's cooking up in the GM box,
Yeah.
like I will forgive him for hiring Arthur Smith because he's done so well with the roster.
Yeah.
Now just fix your fucking mistake.
Yep.
Fix your mistake.
Exactly.
Moving on to the next game. Surprisingly, we have the Colts and the Bengals, and it's not surprising that they're facing each other. What is surprising is that the Bengals are favored by 3 at home.
Well, they got the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, Jake Big Dick Browning over here.
Help.
BDB, Big Dick Browning. So
No, this is one of those games that's a heavy playoff implication game.
Yep.
Because I think, and I'm Siglin, if he was here, he'd pin me for this, but I think that the Colts are like the Steelers. I think they're pretenders right now.
they're frauds.
Yep.
They're
Colts.
frauds.
I'm not calling the Colts a bad team. They're not as good as their record shows, and I think that as we begin to make the push into the playoffs and they face some serious adversity, we're going to see them get knocked out of that 5 seed and out of the playoffs.
Well, and what hurts for me is like I like Gardner Minshew. I think obviously when you brought him in day one, he was probably better than Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
But think about where Richardson would be right now, like if he was healthy. Like we're 12 games into the year, he was showing leaps and bounds before
Yeah.
he got hurt. So I think the Colts would be a surefire playoff team if he was still healthy. And so that gives good credence like to the future and everything because like this is also a team who they cut a guy who 2 years ago was one of the best linebackers in the NFL in Shaq Leonard, and now apparently they found a way to do it without him.
Well, and their defense is why they're winning games. I
Yep.
mean, you look at their past 4 games. Okay, they're on a 4-game winning streak, but those games are Titans, Bucks, Patriots, Panthers. None of them are serious playoff contenders right now.
Yep.
The Buccaneers could trip upwards into the playoffs, but I don't think that's going to happen either. But
More just because it's the
you know,
NFC South.
they lost to the Saints, the Browns, the Jags. They lost to the Rams, though I will got to give credit to the Colts. They did beat the Ravens in Week 3. That was a solid win for them, but their defense has been balling out.
Yeah, this week is going to be an interesting one, just because, once again, you have the Bengals, who are still mostly intact besides the biggest part of the team, and that's the quarterback. Unfortunately, Joe Burrow is out. But if Jake Browning, he's got the best situation to walk into, having two top-tier wide receivers and a third very good wide receiver.
He's getting
Tyler
Brock Purdy
Boyd.
right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Joe Mixon behind you. The line's starting to play better than it has all year. You have Jamar Chase, top 5 receiver in the game. T. Higgins, top 10. Tyler Boyd in the conversation of top 5 third options right now. Unfortunately, I don't know if T stays there after this year.
Is there a team with a better receiving core in the NFL than the Bengals?
I don't think so right now. Maybe if you throw if tight end is included in
maybe
the
the
receiving
Dolphins.
core,
Maybe
I would
Dolphins.
say the Dolphins, and then I would say the Niners if you included tight end into that group. Just because I think Jamar is better than anything they have in San Francisco, but that's what the Bengals are lacking. Like they have Tanner Hudson back there right now. Playing tight end. So I think that's the one weakness they have. But he's performed. I'd like to see the Bengals go out and get one in the draft. But this year, they're still in contention. I mean, the AFC right now is in the thick of it. I think the 7 seed is 7-5. So there's teams like, the Broncos are still in it. We're still technically in it, although I don't have huge hopes for
Kyle
that.
Pitts would have went to the Bengals?
Oh,
That would have been a dream.
oh my God. Joe Burrow would have been flossing on him.
Yep.
But still, I think this is a hard-fought game today, but they are at home in Cincinnati. I do like the Bengals to pull out a win here. I do like their points as well. I think it's about a 4-point win.
Yeah.
If anything, I think Jake Browning takes him down 3, scores a tutter that gives him 4 points. That beats the spread, and that's the win. We'll say
I agree.
27-24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be slightly more offensive than people think today. Just because the Bengals defense is good, but they're not great.
Yeah.
They come up good on the front lines there, but once again, you have good trench play by the Colts. I don't know. We'll move on to the next one, but what's your prediction?
I got the Bengals winning too. I think,
Bengals.
I think it'll be a close game. I think that it'll be within 4 points, but the Bengals will win.
Sounds good. Moving on up here, we have the Jaguars visiting the Browns in Cleveland. We got the Browns favored by 1.5. Jags are 8-4. Browns are 7-5 right now. Once again, another game with huge playoff implications.
Yes, and this is a do or die moment for the Jaguars because they're only one game ahead of the Colts for the division. So they really the Jags got to show up and they got to ball out because they've been very inconsistent. They're 2-2 over the last 2 weeks, beating up the Titans and the Texans, but they did lose to both the Bengals and the Niners. So it seems like they're kind of, when they have to face a top 15 team, they seem to be struggling. But man, this is going to be a tough game to call. I'm going to be honest, because the Browns. Let's see here. I'll let you take over for a second.
Yeah,
I
the Browns
gotta
right
look
now,
over it, look
so
up a couple
they
things.
they haven't announced yet. Just to kind of recap here, so the Browns are in the 5 seed. I was trying to pull up the standings on my end. So the Browns are in the 5 seed right now. It is not announced yet whether they will start DTR or Joe Flacco today.
Okay.
So that is going to be the big question. I think that kind of maybe determines this game, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a dogfight. I think you have a great defense in Cleveland and
Yeah.
a good defense in Jacksonville. There's not much of a threat that the Browns can possess to the Jags, but also we've just kind of seen the Browns gut this out no matter what. Let's not act like their quarterback play was all that great with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So biggest bungle in history there. But the fact is you're still 7-5. You have an amazing defense.
Yeah.
I'm still going Jacksonville on this one, though.
I am
think
too.
Jacksonville's just more talented.
They are.
Sorry, even though you're in Cleveland, it's playoff time. And also, this is going to come down to head coaching, too. And I like Doug Peterson over Kevin
Yeah,
Stefanski.
I love Doug Peterson. He's
Yeah.
he's an awesome coach. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You got two teams that have good defenses, but one has a significantly better offense right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got the Browns saw Nick Chubb in that backfield. Would be talking
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
different if they had a decent quarterback.
Yeah,
play
he'd be
too,
carrying him to the playoffs if his leg didn't snap in four
yeah.
places. Like,
But when you got Jerome Ford and you got your quarterbacks are so bad you can't even if you to the point where you're even considering starting Joe Flacco.
You brought Joe Flacco out of retirement and did start him last week.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at in Cleveland. And
that is the state of the franchise. The state of the franchise is
Yeah.
the dog sitting inside the room of fire saying, "It's fine, I'm fine."
But it's not. They've lost 2 in a row, and it's about to be 3 in a row. So I
Yep.
think the Browns are about to flame their way out of the playoffs. So
Yeah, hard conversation here, but I think Cincinnati jumps both Pittsburgh and Cleveland to claim a wild card spot.
Absolutely.
I think they right now you are on the downhill in Cleveland, and definitely Pittsburgh too. Pittsburgh's lost 2 of the worst teams in the NFL.
yeah.
So,
No, Pittsburgh is.
I
I
am-
love Mike Tomlin, but man, Pittsburgh is. That team is ugly right now. Ugly.
I don't think you make a coaching change, but something has
No.
to get changed up in that team. Moving on, let's see here. I have the game list up. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. We have an NFC North matchup. You have the Lions versus the Bears. Lions by 3. This one was interesting last time they played.
Yes, it was.
So Lions, if you guys don't remember, came back from 14 down to end up winning the game.
Yep.
They were down 10 within the last 3.5 minutes.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, that was an awesome game to watch. Really kind of showed the collapse of the Bears, but let's not overlook that the Bears are better. They are. Ryan
They've gotten
Pace.
better and better all year.
Ryan Pace needs to seriously start getting kudos. I don't think Matty Eberflus is the man. You
No,
fire him, but
no.
Ryan Pace has more than proved himself.
Absolutely.
To keep his job and to be the man who chooses the next head coach for the
Yep.
Bears. I think he did.
You have 2 top 12 picks next year.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, at
Or
this point, you
10.
have the number 1 pick.
Yeah, because you get
You
the
have the
Panthers.
Panthers pick, so that's grade A anyways. You traded
Yeah.
out of the first pick last year. I think they choose. I've been mocking a lot and getting into draft prep, and I do think this is a team that sticks with Fields at quarterback. And this is
I do too.
this is a game I do think the Lions win. It's going to be scrappy though. The Bears they got something going about them. Worst case scenario, I think if you're a Bears fan, is you catch enough heat here at the end run that Matt Eberflus keeps his job.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that is probably your worst case scenario.
it
here.
is because I think that they are just. I think the head coach is the missing piece on that team.
We've seen it all year. Head coaches making a difference on the collegiate and
Yeah.
the NFL level.
Yep.
It's a tangible piece that needs to be considered like quarterback or edge rusher. It's a tier 1 need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at us. I'm not gonna say the Chiefs blew us out. Cool. We were overmatched on talent that game, but look how the Raiders have looked with Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, ever since you switched from Josh McDaniels to Pierce. Yep.
Completely different team.
Yep.
And it shows the talent is actually showing up. Are we a Super Bowl contender? No. Could we have been a fringe playoff team if we maybe started with AP? Possibly.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but look at you guys.
Yep.
Terrible last year.
Yeah.
Didn't have your first round pick. Traded the only first round pick you did have because you acquired it from Bradley Chubb for a coach. Ta-da.
Yep.
Took a little while to get going. And
Yeah.
Maybe 70 points getting put up
Yeah,
on your ass.
no,
but
that
that's
It's a rough start to the season.
yeah. I think the Broncos one of the hottest teams right now. The Bears could be a problem for the Lions, who are kind of sputter. But like I said, I like Detroit by probably. I like them by 10. I don't
Yeah.
think they let them get them again like that. It kind of shocked the first time, but
Who's at home?
the Bears are
Okay.
at home. I will say.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I like the Lions in this game. I think the Lions are proving themselves as they're the next to the Niners and the Eagles. The Lions are the team to beat in the NFC, and I love the NFC this year, man. It's going to be a dogfight in the playoffs. It's going yeah. But I do have the Lions beating the Bears as well.
Ooh, Tyler, sorry, I just got to some comments here. I was on the wrong screen. What is our one prize picks lock from Atlanta, Tampa Bay?
Oh, I will tell you right now, bud.
Under Bijan Robinson touchdown.
Nope. It is surprisingly, it is the kickers, and I was doing some research on what I should do for a kicker line, and the 2 teams in the NFL that have the most field goals attempted against them are the Buccaneers and the Falcons.
Oh, gee, yeah.
So the Buccaneers have been averaging 4 field goals a game over the last 3 weeks, and the Falcons have been averaging 3 field goals against them a game. So that's 7 combined field goals average per game over the last 3 weeks. So I think the dual kicker line, there was a Chase McLaughlin and Younghoe Koo, 3.5 combined field goals. That one is my absolute smash lock for that game.
Smash. But as we move back to Lions Bears,
Yeah.
any locks for this game you like? I guess we haven't really got player props, but we got some time.
Yeah, if you're two lines I really like in this one, David Montgomery, he's just a lock to get a rushing touchdown every game. And he got 2 against the Bears last time. And then Jahmyr Gibbs over 3.5 receptions. I mean, he's been a target machine lately. So they've been transitioning back to handing the ball to David Montgomery, but throwing it to Jahmyr Gibbs. And
Yeah, and the hard part with that being a Gibbs fantasy owner is obviously there's a part of me that wants to say just give Jahmyr the ball because he can handle the bell cow role. But when you have 2 RB1s, feed the offense through him.
Yeah.
And you have a wide receiver one in Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you have a tight end one in Sam Laporta. Like, Jesus Christ, like, kudos to Jared Goff, but he is working with, like, some
Talent.
cooks in that kitchen.
Yeah, he
like,
is.
you know, so it
think
makes
he-
his job very easy.
it was kind of that. I remember when that trade happened, and I was like, "Ooh, Goff's on his way out." But you look at it now, I think he ended up in the better situation on that trade.
I think the Lions won that trade.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dare I say? Dare I say?
You know, I remember at the time Goff was just, Sean McVay and the Rams are getting, shipping him out, and the poor guy has to go to Detroit. He's in a much better. I'd much rather be a quarterback for the Lions right now than the Rams.
Yeah, no,
just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a fan, if you value your 1 Super Bowl title and you're willing to trade like 10 years of misery for it, cool.
Yeah.
You guys won that trade.
Yeah,
If we're talking,
they pull the Broncos.
yeah, if we're talking like the next 5-10 years, like tangibly, like I mean, I think the Rams went all in.
To win the Super Bowl that
Yep,
year.
they won. They went all in, but the problem is going all in is now you're dealing with the repercussions of that. Like you're dealing with a weak roster. I think they have done phenomenal. Like neither the coach nor the GM should be in any sort of position to get fired.
Yep.
Even after last year, even after this year, like I still believe in Sean McVay, but like that was the hard part. They went all in, and now you kind of got to deal with the consequences. If you're willing to push through that, I think they still have the coaching talent
Absolutely.
to make it all happen
Yep.
again, but it's going to take some time.
And I think that's a good segue for our next game, which is
do
Rams
it.
and Ravens.
Yep,
So,
perfect.
The 6-6 Rams take on the travel to Baltimore to take on the 9-3 Ravens. This game's going to be, I'm going to call this right now, this is going to be the ugliest game of the week. I think that the Rams are going to lose by 2 touchdowns or more. I think they're going to get smacked. That Ravens defense is good. And Stafford has been struggling. Puka Nacua went from getting 10 receptions a game for the first half of the season, and now he can barely get 3 or 4. Cooper Kupp, the ghost of Cooper Kupp, is out there running around trying to do something. And
Is that a white joke?
yes,
Yeah, Stafford finally threw to someone with a fucking tan. Who would have
Yep.
known? Yeah.
So no, the Rams have just been. They've been. I don't know, man.
They're a hard team because once again they're a team that doesn't have enough talent, I think, to beat like a Ravens team.
Yeah.
But let's pull it up. I got the standings right here. They're tied with the last 2 teams. Like right now, the NFC playoff picture for the wild card down is the 9-3 Cowboys, and then the 6 and 7 seed are the 6-6 Vikings and the 6-6 Packers.
And the Rams are on a 3-game win streak too. They did show up against. Another reason why I think Jacksonville's going to smack the Browns. This
Well, they
week
beat
is,
Seattle twice.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Cardinals,
Okay.
whatever, but the Cardinals
Maybe
technically-
maybe I'm being a little harsher on the Rams than I should have been, but I mean they lost to the Steelers and the Packers. I mean
the Steelers used to be a good team
Yeah.
with Matt Canada, okay?
that was
Sorry. Oh, God.
You're
I
a
held it in for
comedian.
like a half second.
You're a comedian.
Oh, God. I held it in for a half
Yep.
second. Oh, that hurt. It's like holding in a giant shit. Which is what the fucking Steelers did before they fired Matt Canada.
Yep.
That's like that Randy Marsh world record,
Randy
passing,
Marsh.
passing Bono shit.
Yep.
Just puts him up there. That's what Matt Canada was. No, I think the Ravens are the team to beat in the AFC right now. It's put me on a spike and stabbed me for saying that, but right now they're just getting it done. And for
Yeah.
once, and you want to know
They've
why
won
it is?
5 of their last 6
You
games.
want to know why it is? Is because outside of J.K. Dobbins, they have not gotten hit by the injury bug. Knock on wood.
Yeah,
For
that's.
once.
I was about
For
to say,
once.
last year they were probably the most
The
injury-riddled
most.
team.
Yeah, you would have just put a fucking Chargers logo
Yep.
on their helmet.
Yeah.
Like they were so hurt.
Yep.
But, things improve. I'm happy to see that. I want Lamar to win a title so everybody can shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Lamar's a great quarterback.
He's a top 5 quarterback. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, if you don't think so, just put the crack pipe down. Maybe we go to rehab.
John Harbaugh is.
Top 5 coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Mm-hmm.
think he might even be second only to
Antonio Pierce.
Shanahan.
Shanahan, yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Shanahan can make it happen.
Yep. I think John Harbaugh, you put him on any team in the league, and he absolutely any team he is on is going to have a winning record, no matter how bad their roster is. He's a phenomenal coach.
Agreed.
Yep.
Moving on here. So the only difference I think is I had that game second next. The one I had in between was Panthers Saints. So we'll kind of gloss over this.
'Kay.
I don't know if Derek Carr's starting today. Don't think it matters.
No, this is the turd bowl of the week.
Was firing Frank Reich the smart move?
No,
Nope.
no. I mean, you don't.
I don't think hiring him was the smart move in the first place, but
Yeah.
I am a huge believer.
Yeah.
Unless you are Urban Meyer bad, you don't deserve to get fired this
Well,
early in your first year.
Exactly, and
He wasn't Urban Meyer
I
bad.
get that the Panthers have been struggling, but historically speaking, even Trevor Lawrence struggled immensely his first year. Peyton Manning struggled immensely his first year. Quarterbacks struggle their first year. If you are going to say, here is a new coach, build your system, here's a shiny new number 1 overall pick quarterback for your system, they're not going to go 10-0 to start. That's just not going to happen. You got to give your coach and your players time to develop chemistry, time to get that system going, you got to build around them, and building takes a couple years. It's not an overnight thing. So I think
David Tepper.
I think that firing Frank Reich was a mistake.
I think their owner. It is. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but somehow going from Jerry Richardson, who is a sexual predator, to fucking David Tepper was worse for your franchise.
Yeah.
I cannot believe I'm saying that. On a moral ground, it is not. No, David Tepper, I'm sure, is a fine human being. I'm sure he runs his businesses fantastically outside of Carolina. But he doesn't know shit about football. He doesn't know dick about it. And he, right now, is fucking that team worse than the government.
Yep.
So that's all I'm going to say. Saints by over a touchdown. They are
Yeah.
already favored by 5.5. But
Yep.
let's just give them the full thunder.
Yep. That's just a free win for New Orleans. So.
Yep. Yeah. Have fun tying up the
Yeah.
division.
The
after.
Panthers are just they're the free square space on the bingo card.
Well, so if our predictions stand right now, Bucks win over the Falcons, Saints win over the Panthers. We got a 3-way tie at 6 and 7 for the NFC South.
That's
buddy.
true.
Yep.
That's true.
Some things change, some things will never change, and that is the NFC South being hot garbage. Moving on, though, we have
The post Drew Brees NFC South. Being,
yeah, that's fair.
yep.
That's fair. But post Drew Brees, I guess there's no transition I can do to Drew Brees in this one because we have Texans Jets, which is about to be a defensive bottle.
What's the over under on this one?
33.
Wow.
I don't know about you.
Wow.
But they might not score 22.
Yeah, this might.
I'm talking 17-2-3. A couple touchdowns for you. It's not even Taylor Swift on the Chiefs, but you know we're doing it. We're doing it.
No, I've been secretly rooting for the Jets just because I wanted
I want Rodgers back.
I wanted the Aaron Rodgers just in time for the playoff storyline to come true, but the Jets aren't making the playoffs. It's just not happening.
So interesting thing I was reading last night is Robert Saleh's head is getting called for, and I don't think he lasts to Aaron Rodgers' second season because he came out and there's a lot of heat in New York for this right now. As he said, Zach Wilson, he's always believed in Zach Wilson and always believed that Zach Wilson gave them the best chance to win. So what the fuck were you doing the past 2 weeks? So what were you doing with Tim Boyle?
And then you cut him.
Yeah. What is happening in New York? This team should not, even without Aaron Rodgers, fuck me for saying this team should not be this bad.
I think the owners and Saleh are in a disagreement. I think they're having a tug of war all season
I can
over
see
who to
that.
start at quarterback. I think that, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think Saleh's a smart football-minded coach. Anybody with more than 2.5 brain cells rubbing together could know that Zach Wilson's not your best chance, and I think he was being forced to say that.
Yes and no. There is a part of me that still believes in the MILF Slayer because I see a poor version of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Hot take. We were talking about this before with San Francisco. You can plug and play anybody. If Zach Wilson was in San Francisco, I think he'd be fine. Like, I think he'd be doing all right. He'd probably throw a little bit more picks than Brock Purdy, but maybe a couple more touchdowns too.
Yeah. How do you feel
But-
about that one, Tyler?
Yeah, Tyler. I want your opinion on that because, well, I think Zach Wilson coming out had a decent chance to be an NFL quarterback, but right now
he definitely had the tools.
Right
and the
now,
talent,
he's a 23-year-old kid that has been put through the ringer in the worst media city in the United States. he has been lambasted in multiple ways, from his quarterback play to the whole controversy with, like, you know, his mom's friend and yada yada, so on and so forth. Like, I think this kid is 100% mentally cooked. Like, he is done now, but I think he could have been something at one point. But I think right now they've put him so far through the ringer, like, it would take fucking, like, this kid needs to go, like, on an ayahuasca retreat. Aaron needs to take him out and mentally cleanse this
Yep.
kid, because I believe, like, if Aaron Rodgers sees something in you, there's got to be something. The problem is we are not seeing it on, you know, on display on at all of a consistent basis. You're seeing little flashes here and there, but I think it's his brain. I think he mentally has been put through such a trial for such a young kid that you got to remember he came in at 21.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard for a kid to do.
Yep.
It takes a special kind of guy, and I don't think, no offense to Zach, he's just not it.
Yeah, he's only been able to
wouldn't
drink
be
for 2
it.
years. Yeah.
I wouldn't be it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If I was in that situation at 21, shit.
Yeah.
No, would have been cooked.
Yep.
Would have got off and said some crazy shit in the press. So, like, I don't know. Little sympathy here. Unfortunately, I don't have the highest hopes, but I would like to believe that the ghost of Zach Wilson rises again somewhere
All right.
outside of New York.
I would like to see it. I don't have anything against Zach Wilson. He's just
Hot garbage
he's been
now.
hot garbage. Yeah. Texans obviously are going to win that one.
I think we're in the afternoon slate now.
Are we now?
So,
Are
coin
we
flip.
now?
We talking you or me first?
It doesn't matter.
All right, let's talk Broncos Chargers.
This is.
I'm actually on your side on this one.
I didn't mean to click that. This is. God, it's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, Broncos 6-6, Chargers 5-7.
Yep.
If we bring
it's
up
our first time
the-
playing each other this year too. I think. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you bring up the playoff race, Broncos number 9 in the AFC right now, Chargers 12th. Broncos 1 game out of the 7th seed. So Broncos, if we're talking a little playoff anomics here,
Yep.
you guys need losses from Houston,
Yep.
Indianapolis, and Cleveland this week.
And the Chiefs would be nice too.
The Chiefs would be nice always
Yep.
just to see the Chiefs lose. You guys are only 2 games
Because
out of the
I know
division.
as far as the wild card goes, yeah, we're right there in the race. Right now we got a 42% chance of making the playoffs. So we got a decent chance, but we're also only 2 games behind Kansas City, who's 8 and they've lost 4 games and they have not been looking good lately, and they play good team. I mean, they got a tough schedule coming up. So I'm not saying this is a homer, but there is a world where Denver leaps Kansas City if they don't figure their shit out.
So you're saying there's
There's a chance. If you would have asked me 6-7 weeks ago if we could be competing for the division lead with Kansas, oh my God! Have you? And again, not saying this as a Broncos fan, but has there been a more drastic season turnaround from how Denver looked the first 5 weeks to how they've looked the last 5 weeks? Like, I don't remember any team going from that bad to that. I'm not gonna say good.
To
but
you were picking
Yeah.
top 5 to now everybody's like they could be a playoff team.
that's
Like,
been a weird season.
Once again, you got the line's going to be the same. You got 70 dropped on you.
Yeah.
And then to pull up out of the ashes there, I think speaks to the coaching staff.
It does.
Now, I think Alyssa will kill me for saying this, but I think the number 1 most improved person on that team is Vance Joseph.
He is. Yeah.
If you go from 70 points a game, and the hard part is I know you want him fired. I know she wants him fired. For anybody who doesn't know, both Jace and my lovely girlfriend are Broncos fans, so
Yep.
I'm in hell. But no, Vance Joseph has kept his job, unfortunately for you guys.
I think I even changed the banner on my Facebook because it was time to. Yep, I did.
Yep.
I was like, all right. Yeah, no, I'm a fair guy. I'll give credit where credit's due. He has contributed greatly to our defensive turnaround, and I think that when you look at the schedules coming up,
You guys don't have.
outside of the Lions, I think we have a winnable. I think we can win 4 of our next 5 games.
Excuse you.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying the Raiders are going to be favored, but
You beat us once, we're going to beat you once.
we
That's how it
beat you with
happens.
Josh McDaniels.
I know
you
you
never
did.
beat Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, but that was first 5.
Is
week
that how it
Broncos.
works, Jace?
That
Or
was
is-
70-point Broncos.
Jace, when was the last time you guys beat the Raiders?
I don't want to
Because
talk.
now the longest losing streak in the division is
I know.
Denver to the
It was
Raiders.
the same story about the Chiefs, and we
Yeah.
beat them, bud. So, but
All right, tuck it back in. Tuck it back in.
you know, the Chargers over the last 7 weeks, over the last season.
Fire Brandon Staley.
know,
For
he's a-
fuck's sake.
Here's who
If
the
there's
Chargers
one
have been
coach.
able to beat: the Patriots,
Able.
the Jets, the Bears, the Raiders, the
Yeah,
Vikings.
that's not a big one. You beat a
They-
Josh McDaniels led Raiders.
They did beat the Niners in all fairness, but
I think that
any-
was without several players.
I mean, they've lost to the Packers, the Ravens, the Lions, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Titans, the
they've
Dolphins.
actually had kind of a schedule.
They have
I'll
had
give
a
them
schedule.
that. I'll give
but-
them that. They've kind of had a rough schedule.
Yep. But this is I think this is going to be a lot close. This is going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I do think Denver will win, but I think it's going to be on a field goal. It's not going to be we're not going to win by more than a touchdown. So
No, it's going to be a hard fought game.
yeah,
like,
it is.
You know, Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. The Broncos have been playing smooth, but also like LA's biggest problem is they lost Mike Williams, and Quentin Johnson is nowhere near the replacement for him.
no, not yet.
I will
needs
say
more
this. I said it last year. I think he has the highest ceiling, but there was guys that crept above him the later I went in the draft because I like to value your floor more than your ceiling.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so there was guys I really liked ahead of him. It got to the point I actually liked Tank Cadell over him. And I was, you know, it might have been a crazy thought then. Not so much a crazy thought
Not
now.
so much now.
QJ still has a good ceiling, but yeah, hit the fucking jugs machine this offseason, buddy. Catch 10,000 balls and then go catch 10,000 more because, like, need to work on your hands. He's great. He's open.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing him open. We're just seeing drops be a huge issue, but he's also a 21-year-old kid. Give him time to develop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I do agree with you. I think the Broncos take this game slightly. So if we're talking 3 to the Chargers, Broncos cover that because I think they win. So go
Yep.
ahead and take that money line.
Yep.
But I do think they go under 45. I think it's a very low scoring game.
yeah,
I
it
could see
won't
like
be a-
2017. Which at that point, that's 37. So
Yeah.
moving on up, we got Vikings Raiders
All right.
in Las Vegas.
This is going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, Josh Dobbs starting, but Justin Jefferson is back. Hallelujah for us fantasy owners.
And if we're going to talk about the Broncos being in the playoff hunt, you got to talk about the Raiders too. I mean, they're 5-7. They're right there. If we beat the Chargers and you guys win, you're right on our ass for that seed as well. So it's going to be that's going to be an interesting game too. Josh Dobbs, he's looked good since he's gotten Minnesota. It's going to be
The last game was really the kind of the kicker, you know. I will say 3 of the interceptions of the 4 he threw were his fault.
yeah.
There was going to be a game like this. I'm sorry for the Vikings. There was. Dobbs is a decent backup who gives you an ability to win with his legs. The big thing right now is not even outside of Casey. I think we did an all right job rushing Mahomes. He's just Patrick Mahomes. We don't have an elite pass rush. Max Crosby was hurt that game, so he was mostly a decoy. But we've got guys like Malcolm Kuhn stepping up. I think our defense is probably something that's not being talked about right now. Is outside of that game against KC, we were allowing the 3rd least points going into that game in the NFL since we fired Josh McDaniels. Robert Spillane is playing like an absolute fucking monster right now. And Devon Diablo's good. The secondary is
Oh, you
starting to
mean
shape up.
the spline that's on my team?
Yeah,
yep.
suck a dick. I hate. Yeah, I had him and then dropped him, and then I saw Jace pick him up, and then the second Jace picked him up, he started bawling,
Yeah,
bawling,
buddy.
and I'm
Yeah,
like, God damn
buddy.
it. But yeah, talk about a great offseason
Yep.
pickup. We picked him up 2 years, $6 million from the Steelers. He was a backup linebacker with the Steelers, and now he's our starting middle linebacker. The Lions played great. I love our defense right now. Aiden O'Connell is taking steps every game to the
Yeah.
point I think he was one of the bright spots in our loss to KC.
Yeah.
Going into the bye week, having some time to prepare for this game against a team in Minnesota who might be starting to slip a little bit, while I'm going to homer this one, I do think we win by a field goal.
Yeah.
I like this one just because we're at home. Raiders are starting to take more of a homestand. Like you said, this team has shifted under Antonio Pierce. The number one thing, though, is how Josh Dobbs and Justin Jefferson connect. Because if they go for over like $150, we lose this game.
Well, that's
gonna
ultimately
be the
where
big
it
one.
swings for me too. I was going to pick the Raiders, but because
JJ's
back, I am going to lean the Vikings in this one. But I think it could go either way. I do not think either team's going to blow the other one out. I think this one's going to come down to the wire as well. I think both this one and Chargers Broncos are going to be down to the wire games. So
It's going to be good games today.
yep.
So, what do we have next in the afternoon slate? Ooh, let's talk a spicy one. Let's talk Seahawks Niners.
Ooh,
Hey.
Seahawks are about to get smacked.
Wow, since I did the ticker, they favored the Niners by 13, and since I did that, they've now dropped it to 14 points. No Elijah Mitchell today, so you can expect a heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey. Seahawks. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Why do they just feel like you want to believe in them? You know, I mean, maybe you don't after they fleeced you for Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
but that's starting to turn around a little bit. But this team, I feel like should be better than 6-6 and
They
should
should.
make more of a fight
They're-
versus the Niners, but they probably won't.
They're on a 3-game losing streak right now. 2 weeks ago, they played the Niners and they got blown out 31-13. So I mean, it's
Last week versus the Cowboys was some hope though. They went
That was.
toe to toe
They
when
did.
the Cowboys played their best game all year.
They did.
No. Both teams played their best. The Cowboys were just better.
You know, I think that what's going on right now is I think that the Seahawks realize they've got to really come together, play with some heart and some grit, and they got to.
Sorry to interrupt you, but breaking news: Trevor Lawrence is starting today. He was supposed to be
That's a
out
mistake.
with a high ankle sprain. He will start
Oh.
today versus the Browns.
I don't know.
Playoff implications on the line. CJ Beathard not looking all that good.
Yeah,
last
that's
week,
true.
though, so-
They're probably just doing what they got to do at that
Yeah,
point.
I mean, if you're talking to Jake
Yeah.
Browning, you know,
Yeah.
where he came in and he looked good, different story. Not to keep referencing the God, but you know.
Yeah.
But like if your backup quarterback goes and he plays good, that gives you the confidence,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
know, like no matter what the outsiders are saying in that building, you feel good.
Yep.
I don't feel good about CJ Beathard after last week, so
No.
I can see where T-Law. I think T-Law's a dog.
He is.
I think he's someone who started top 10-ish quarterback right now. By talent, I think he is, but he just hasn't really proven a lot. I like Trevor Lawrence, but yeah, I agree. I think it's against Myles Garrett and that nasty defense. I do think it's a mistake. Expect a lot of quick throws. Expect a lot of dump off passes. Not a lot.
ETN's gonna eat.
ETN's going to eat. I think. I
Yep.
think a lot of play action. Get him away from the pressure. I think if he's playing, he can run on it fairly well. And once the adrenaline gets going, you kind of forget about the pain.
Yeah.
It's just making sure he doesn't get hit
Yeah.
and re-aggravate that because high ankle, experienced it before myself. That's something that can re-aggravate very easily. It's one of
Yeah.
the highest chances to kind of re-injure that if you're going in. Usually a high ankle sprain's like 2 to 3 weeks.
At that
so-
point, it doesn't matter if you make the playoffs if you don't have a
yeah,
quarterback.
you breaks
So-
his ankle, you're fucked.
Yeah,
You're,
you might
you're
as well
Florida
just hang-
State. Now,
hang
and
up
do you
the
want to
se-
do that to Florida twice in 1 year, Jacksonville? Really? I don't know. Are you familiar with that situation right now? Okay, so college football playoff, right? Just sidebar here. I know we were talking Niners, and Tyler's probably hating us, but sidebar. So Florida State was in the college football. They were undefeated all year, but they lost their quarterback, Jordan Travis, last week. So they lost their quarterback, Jordan Travis, or not last week, like 3 weeks ago. Haven't played the best, still won the ACC championship, still finished undefeated. When it came time for the college football playoff, Texas and Bama, one-loss teams, jumped them for the final spots. So Florida undefeated was left out of the college football playoffs.
Wow.
So on merit, some people would say, but they're undefeated. I actually am in the opposite group. I do think that the college football playoff made the right move in putting the 4 most competitive teams right now.
Yeah.
Because
But that-
Jordan Travis is out
This
for
was the
year.
last year they're doing 4 teams, though, right? They're
Yep,
expanding
12 teams next year, baby.
All right.
This was the reason. It was no more fitting of why we're moving to 12 teams than this year.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why we're moving to 12 teams.
Yep.
Florida State would have had a shot. They just wouldn't have had like a first round bye in
Yeah.
the 12-team format. So
Well, I mean, the 14 format's stupid. Nate. Can you imagine the NFL playoffs if all you had was just straight to the NFC and AFC championship?
up until 10
games?
years ago, it was only 2. It was the BCS. A computer decided who the top 2 teams were. Like,
Yeah.
Dumbest shit alive.
Yeah.
So college football, I don't know. I think at this point you break it down, you put them into country regions. Like there's someone who had like this big breakdown, and it was very well articulated. It was you pretty much break it into 5 regional areas, and then you put each regional area in 3 tiers, and then you have a promotion system like soccer. Teams still play each other and everything, like in their tiers and conferences or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's more competition aligned.
Yeah.
So I think that would be easy. But anyways, we're getting off topic here.
Back to Niners and Seahawks.
No, by all means, change topic as far as anyone's concerned. This is just a second bye for the Niners. God, I love you, Tyler. Yeah. I mean, I guess we could just bypass this one. I mean, we love you, Tyler. We want to talk about your team, but they're going to fucking steamroll the Seahawks today, unless Geno puts up
Well,
another.
I was going to
dog
say
game.
the Seahawks played with a ton of heart and passion last week. They were grinding it out with Dallas. So if that Seahawks team does show up, I think we could have a little bit more interesting game than what we're giving them credit
I
for.
think Seattle might be the spread.
Yeah.
Might be 7 or 10 point game. But
I will
still
not.
confidently
I
like the
will not
Niners.
rule out the possibility that they upset the Niners, but do I think it's going to happen? No.
No.
Is it Is it in the range of outcomes? Yes.
By technical, like a bit like in the realm of possibilities, anything's possible.
Yep.
According to Kevin Garnett. So
Yep.
move on to probably what's what would have been the game of the week if we were not going to talk about Eagles Cowboys. But let's talk Bills Chiefs first. So we'll stay in our division.
God, come on. Go
Buffalo.
Bills. Buffalo Soldier.
In
Go
the
beat the
heart
Chiefs
of-
again.
In the heart of America, gotta beat Taylor Swift.
No, I am. This is gonna be such a fun game. I love every time the Bills and Chiefs have played each other. It's been absolute fire.
fireworks.
Yeah, it's been great. Do I think that's gonna happen again? No. I think you got two. I'm not gonna say formally as if they're not powerhouses anymore. They're both just currently
Two
a little struggling powerhouse offenses. We're gonna have a mid-off. We're gonna have a mid-off because I think you have two teams that everybody's like, these are the best two teams in the AFC. Not right now, they're not. And I
The
think
ghosts of the two best
Yeah.
teams in the AFC. How many times do we use ghost in this?
I know
Wait, we are. Yeah, welcome
think
to the
that-
Supernatural Football Podcast.
this is going to be what I mean is that this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a tight game, but instead of being, 45-42, it's going to end 24-21. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more of a defensive battle. I think we're going to see more three and
and
outs, more punts. More,
Good news, I believe Nick Bolton's back for the
Yeah.
Chiefs. Needed, very needed on that defense. The Chiefs have won by defense. No one's talking about the Chiefs' defense.
their
That's
defense
the
is
reason
great,
they're
man.
winning.
Yeah.
The reason they are winning. Like they after we started hot up against them, they really shut down the Raiders' offense, allowed
Yeah.
their offense to get cooking. Because I don't even think against us that their offense looked tremendous by any means. It was two people. It was Patrick and Travis.
Yeah.
It's the usual combination that once they get hot, they destroy you.
We talked earlier about the Bengals having the best receiving core in the NFL. Is there anybody with a worse receiving core than the Chiefs?
I think there is probably like the actual losing teams in this league, but because the hard part is once again
I think the
receiving core
Titans
we're
maybe.
including, but
You can make
it's,
the case for the Titans having the worst receiving.
I think we're starting to see like it's not any. I'm not going to sit out here and Travis is distracted. No, but he's 35. Like there's a reason he's not every single week a dominant player.
Yeah.
like that's just straight up.
Everybody falls off
Yeah,
at some point.
Kelsey's a dog, but the dogs turn into old dogs. All right, like you know, and
Gronk
you
went
need
from
somebody else.
dominant to Gronk was like that. It was like somebody hit an off switch. Yeah,
So while I do like KC in this game, just because I think Mahomes has just still played like Mahomes, to where we're seeing a little bit different Josh Allen this year at
Yeah.
times. We're seeing a great Josh Allen on some weeks, and then we're seeing a little bit of a regression of Josh Allen. I think he's trying to do too much. I think he's trying to do too much for himself. They're not. Because the offense is I think their offense is better this year with Dalton Kincaid
Yep.
and James Cook in a more prominent role than it has been in the past. The problem is for some reason it's just not clicking like it used to.
yeah.
Like I think they have the better players there. Obviously you fire Ken Dorsey. Joe Brady's had that team looking better, but still like they're 6-6. They're sitting on the outside looking in. Like they have to win today.
They
I think
have
this
to.
is a must win.
And I think that just one thing I love about this matchup is I think what we're witnessing is the new Manning Brady rivalry. I think you got Mahomes and Josh Allen tend to bring out the best in each other, and I think that this is just going to be a hard fought game. Obviously, go Bills! You guys rock it today, but
Tyler said, "Is there a worse receiving core? Giants, easily."
yeah,
yeah. Because Kelsey's a better tight end than Waller. Sorry, but
Yep.
so right now it's it's Giants probably. But is there a winning team with a worse receiving core? No.
yeah.
Like, this is. I think someone said it the other day. They're like, we get tired of talking about the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. Like everybody starts sound like Chris Collinsworth. But like
About Andy Reid.
let's give him a second here and
Yeah.
realize that these two are cooking right now with a Hobby Lobby receiving core, like Dollar Tree, like fucking discount, bud.
Yup.
So, here we go. No worst receiver. Yeah, so, Tyler, I got that after I said game of the week. Yes, I got that. Love you, bud. All right. But since he's talking about the Giants, just kidding. We're not moving on to that one yet. We're talking about America's game of the week.
Oh, this is yeah.
This is it. This
Yeah.
is the game of the week. This is
This is-
Eagles Cowboys. Cowboys
Whoever
are riding
wins
high.
takes the division.
Yeah, they have
Yep.
the Cowboys favored by 3 tonight.
Yep.
51.5 over under. I'm so hurt this year because every time I predict that we have a great primetime game, we don't.
That's true.
So I'm just gonna shut up.
Yep. It's gonna end up being 9-3, just field goals all day. Nobody gets past the 40-yard line.
Fucking Jake Elliott versus Brandon Aubrey. Like it's a boxing showdown.
Like that's the poster image. Like Hurts and Dak aren't even on the screen.
Yeah.
It's just the two kickers facing off.
I think this is an even match, though. Like you're
It
talking
is.
two teams whose quarterbacks are probably playing better than the run game right now.
Well, I mean, they're just so similar too, because you both have
Great trenches.
good trenches, but secondaries that are giving up a lot through the air.
Cowboys would be the best. Like if Deron Bland, who is having a career year, he's
Yeah.
the number 1 ranked cornerback by PFF right
Yeah.
now. That's
Oh, really?
Because of
I didn't
picks,
know that.
but also by coverage aspects too. Like he is legitimately an All-Pro this
Okay.
year. So like just stepping in for Trayvon Diggs, if they had Diggs, different story. But Deron Bland's playing really great there. The problem is though is it's the same thing with Philly. Like they have Darius Slay, they have all the talent in the world over there, but the secondary sometimes is just fucking up.
Yep.
They have Kevin Byard, but they're just not playing the way they need to
What
play.
what DK Metcalf did to the Cowboys last week was disgusting.
Yeah.
And so what AJ Brown's probably going to do to them tonight is going to be disgusting.
Disgusting.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I'm so excited for that game. That's
yeah,
gonna be
AJ and DK I
fantastic.
think are going to go off. You got two big receivers who
Yeah.
just really I don't think the other team has really struggled to kind of contain. We just saw it last week with the Cowboys. But I think CeeDee Lamb, rivaling AJ there, I think is going to have a big night too. I meant to say AJ and DK are similar. So, but AJ and CeeDee are going to have great nights tonight.
Yep.
I think both of the guys are going to be top targets. But I like the Eagles to bounce back.
Yeah.
I do. I think they haven't been playing their best ball, and I think that smack in the mouth last week to the Niners, it's kind of what happened to you guys.
Yep.
With the 70-point loss. Sometimes you really just got to get the shit kicked out of you to find out who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And this team, let's not act like they aren't full of dogs. They've got guys who can win. They've done it before. I think they'll do it again. They just this is the road bumps they need in the road
Yeah.
to make them a better team. They need this challenge right now in order to succeed. So even if the Cowboys win, I still think the Eagles, they come out better from this.
This is actually giving me vibes from last year. When the Cowboys and Eagles played each other last year, is this their first time? No. Okay, yeah. So last year,
Yeah, Eagles won
yep.
earlier this year.
Eagles smacked Cowboys early in the season last year, and then came back around, and we had a primetime game like we do now, and the Cowboys walloped them by 2 touchdowns. But I do believe Gardner Minshew was starting that game.
I think so, too,
Now that
yeah.
I think about
Yeah.
it. So I don't know. This is this is one game I don't really want to call because I don't know. Since you're taking Eagles, I'll take Cowboys. I think it's going to be an absolute grind fest, and I don't know who's going to take this one, but
I'm just
I
saying
think it's going to be
because my
it's
distaste
gonna-
for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great primetime game. So I am going to go Cowboys. So I think they do pull it out, and I think we're going to have a new division leader next week.
And are you ready? Because we have a doubleheader for Monday Night Football.
Dude, don't we?
Yeah. First game up, since we were talking about the
What?
struggling Giants receiving core, let's
What
talk
a
about it.
Garbage bowl for Monday night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the only good team playing is the Dolphins.
Yep.
And thank God they're playing
Yep.
one of their favorite opponents, which is someone who's under 500.
Yep. So, they're playing at the exact same time tomorrow night.
Yep.
That's
So
stupid.
you can choose which stupid game you want to watch.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Well, I think ESPN just got tired of because they're triple casting it this year.
Yeah.
So it's been on ABC, ESPN, and then you have the Manning cast on ESPN too. So, I think it's stupid that they're doing both at the same time.
Yeah, I just don't. I
But-
think it's stupid. They're just doing 2 Monday night games in general. It's
I
kind
mean,
of dumb.
I miss the old doubleheaders, like you stay up late.
Yeah.
Like what was it? I remember like Raiders Chargers a couple of years would be on the late when they'd have a game go beforehand. And Raiders Chargers, since this is on the West Coast, would kick off at 8:30 Mountain Time.
Yeah.
The games kick off at 5:30, 8:30. Like that's awesome for us here.
You have to stay up till 2 in the morning on the East Coast. To
Oh yeah,
watch
just
it.
to
Yeah.
watch the fucking
Yep.
game. But still, it's I miss that. But doing it at the same time, you're literally cutting your own viewership. I don't
You
know
are.
why you do
Yeah.
that, but
Anyways, the Dolphins are gonna publicly execute the Titans.
yeah, this
That's
is going
gonna
to be a pretty quick
gross.
walkthrough,
Yeah. Packers, Giants, and Packers are. Jordan Love's look good. We can talk about him for a minute because he is. What a turnaround that kid's had.
They just
over
need
the
to
last
not
month.
trap game this against the Giants
Yeah.
because coming off, you just beat the Chiefs. You are hot right now. If you're the Packers, stick to your laurels.
Yeah.
You got to stick to what brought you here.
Yep.
You got to run the football. You got to run play action with Jordan Love. You got to get the targets dispersed evenly between the team. You have a bunch of young receivers who have talent, but no one guy I think is going to take you to the promised land in Green Bay outside of Jordan Love. But once again, you got to start feeding AJ Dillon the rock. I like that backup running back they got there. who's been filling in for Aaron Jones. But I mean, since Aaron Jones went out, they're hot. So
Yeah.
I don't like Aaron Jones did not look good this year.
No, I think he hit his age cliff.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So I think it's AJ Dillon's team now. You have your backup running backs, but this is a team, right? Like I said, they're the 7th seed in the NFC.
They're right
League
there.
ends
They're
today.
knocking on the door.
They're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I like the Packers in this one, and then shifting over, like one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL is going up against Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
So how much more does Tyreek's MVP case? Because that's actually what I want to transition to. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it. Let's talk about it. We were doing it off camera.
Yep.
Let's talk about why a quarterback should not win MVP this year.
Because you don't have any quarterbacks that have deserved to win MVP this year.
I
Like
agree.
what? There has not been. You can't point to any
Because not even Patrick
dominating
Mahomes has
team
put
right
up the
now.
numbers to
Yeah,
do it.
and it's not even numbers aside. A quarterback that wins MVP does so because he has been carrying that team to victories. And there's a case to be made that Patrick Mahomes is the reason the Chiefs have even won 8 games. But again, their defense has been fantastic, so I don't think that's the case either. I think that Tyreek. I love McCaffrey. Tyler's going to give me flack for this, but Tyreek Hill he's having an otherworldly season, and he is what's going to be looking like he's going to smash that 2,000 yards well before the season's over. Which,
My debate stands on that too.
Yeah.
With Tyreek versus CMC. I think CMC day in day out is a better player.
and more
It's
valuable,
more valuable and
to
more
the team.
versatile.
Yeah,
The problem is this year though is this Christian McCaffrey's best season? Possibly. Last year when he joined San Francisco, you could argue he performed better on
Yeah.
the stat sheet. The time he was with him. Now we're going to stretch this across 17 games. He's an MVP candidate, but where I think Tyreek edges him out is this is Tyreek's best season.
yeah,
Christian McCaffrey isn't going to break a record this year, most likely. That is a prominent tier 1 record. Like when you talk about records being broken, like most consecutive games with a touchdown, phenomenal record, great
Yeah.
record to have.
Yep.
But when you talk about the fact that he could be the first wide receiver to go over 2,000 yards, a couple running backs have done it. But you're
And-
telling me a quarterback now or a wide receiver now is going to go over 2K? That locks it for
yeah.
me.
And there's people that are like, well, there's one additional game on the season than they used to have. Well, I think he's going to do it before week 16, or
I agree.
close to it. So what's he at right now? About 1,300, 1,400
That's what I was
yards.
going to look up.
Yeah, 'cause I
Because
think-
Miami, surprisingly, is actually atop of the AFC right now.
Yeah.
I Google this here because my stats or my ESPN app's being a hoe this morning. Tyreek Hill. So right now, through 12 games, he's at 1,481 yards.
So I think in 3.5 games he breaks 2,000.
So at a 16-game clip, that leaves him just 25 yards short. That's the record at 1,900. We'll call
Okay.
it 75 because 1,974 and 2/3. So we'll call it 1,975 yards over 16 games at the
Yep.
pace he's been doing because you have 14,081 divided by 12. He's at 123.41 yards per game right
That's
now.
insane, dude.
But when we look at the schedule, like I already said, this week is one of them. This week is one where we're looking at Miami and they play the Titans. Okay? Soft matchup.
Yep.
Now against the Jets, we're going to see maybe some faltering, but I like him to blow up against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore could be a questionable one. Buffalo, I think he could blow up against him too. We're talking
he has-
that's the 17th game,
He
but
has 3 soft matchups and two
two hard matchups, yeah,
tough ones.
so-
So we'll see what happens. But I also want to give kudos to my favorite coach in the league right now. Well, next to Dan Campbell, they're both my favorite. But
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel's
yeah.
awesome, dude. That guy's great. Have you been watching in season?
I have. I haven't seen this week's episode. But,
I haven't either.
Yeah, I need to catch up on it.
But
But no,
like, kudos
he's
to him.
awesome.
He's feeding Tyreek. Like, he wants him to break that record. I love Mike McDaniel, man. He's an awesome coach. He's like a kid won a Madden tournament and got.
Do you know how
gifted a
much
head
it hurts
coaching.
that we literally were off by one letter in hiring our head coach? Because you have Mike McDaniel and then you have Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
It hurts. It hurts so bad some days. But yeah, I think he's. And there's been some drop games, but like he's been over 100 yards the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Over the last 3, 4 out of the last 5, so 5 out of the last 7, and 6 out of the last 8. He's been
Yeah.
over 100 yards since like week 5. So I think once, like you said, he's feeding, and also it's against teams who are struggling deep. And that's where a lot of, like, not to discredit anything Tyreek's done, but he's had more explosive plays, I think, this year, like over 40, 50 yards than almost anybody else has.
Yeah, it's
period. Like, all of his touchdowns are coming from outside the red zone.
Well, and the fact that he's, what is he, 31 years old, 32?
Yeah, it's an.
He's doing this at his age still is amazing. Or is he 29?
I think Tyreek's right on that 30 threshold.
Actually, I think
but
he's 29 now that I think about it.
I think he's still someone who can, 29.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I think he's still someone who possibly could, for at least a couple of years put it up. Like, I don't know if the long speed will be there, but the shiftiness, he just seems like someone who it's a lot of work ethic. Like,
Yeah.
he's got that next level that makes guys elite.
Yep.
There's work ethic everywhere in the NFL, obviously, but there's a next level when you're someone like Tyreek, and I think the way he takes care of himself, he could last a little bit longer than what we see from other speedsters.
And I think at the end of the day, what it boils down to is the Dolphins. We can both agree the Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders this year, but the reason without Tyreek, they're not.
No.
So
They're struggling to make the playoffs.
The Niners, they were great before McCaffrey. Before McCaffrey was there, they were winning. They were doing great. That McCaffrey's not the reason the Niners are as good as he contributes, but the Niners are still a Super Bowl contender without McCaffrey. The Dolphins are not a Super Bowl contender without Tyreek Hill. And I think
agree.
that's what it boils down to.
Yep.
So,
Who is most valuable to their team?
Yep.
Right now.
So.
Christian McCaffrey as a player overall to any team is more valuable.
Yep.
But there we are. Awesome. So we had the MVP debate. We talked all the games this week. Anything else you kind of got chopping up? What are some other head coaching hires you think are gonna, or maybe some head coaching moves that happen this offseason?
well, like you said, I think Bob Saleh's on the hot seat there. Obviously, we don't need to go more in depth about Arthur Smith. We all know my hatred for him.
We all want him.
Yeah. What else do we got for head coaching? Do you think Pete Carroll retires in the next few years?
In the next few years,
He's
yeah,
70-something.
He's 70-something now, so I think it has to happen in the next few years just because, from a life perspective, probably wants to get out. But, to these guys, coaching is life, so maybe he stays until he's forced out.
Was Jonathan Gannon a mistake in Arizona?
No, not yet. He entered such a tough situation.
He did.
There's a reason they were picking number 3 in the draft. I think to come in and do what he's done with Josh Dobbs, with Kyler, it hasn't been pretty. But that defense is really turning around. You can tell the experience, Jonathan. He was a good D coordinator, and that is now transferring to the Cardinals. The big problem, though, is they got to get better weapons on offense.
Yep.
None of the wide receivers have proven to be effective outside of Hollywood Brown.
Well, when they have
big
Marvin
plays.
Harrison Jr. next year,
Exactly.
it's going to be.
Yep.
Oh man, I'm getting an erection thinking about Kyler in all my dynasty leagues right now.
Yep. So Marvin Harrison Jr. or
Yep.
Malik Neighbors, if Harrison Jr. stays in school, there is rumored that they are offering him a $20+ million NIL deal, which would be the largest in college at the time, to stay. But who knows? I think there's going to be.
Let's do division by division rapid fire coaching. Okay.
Yep.
NFC East, Eagles, Cowboys, nothing changes.
Washington,
Ron Rivera will be gone.
Eric Bieniemy steps up.
Yep, Eric Bieniemy will get his head coaching opportunity. Brian Daboll, I think, may have been prematurely given Coach of the Year last year.
I think because of that, he keeps his job, though.
Yeah.
I think injuries were the big one. He's going to have the pillow to fall back on when Daniel Jones was hurt, even though you were worse with Daniel Jones in than you are with Tommy DeVito. But I still think he keeps his job.
It's kind of like Cliff Kingsbury. I think in his first or second year, he was in the Coach of the Year race, and then 2 years later, he was fired. NFC North, Dan Campbell is the man, dude. He's the fucking man.
That's the safest you could have been. You could be.
Yep.
He's turned the team, you're talking decades of misery.
Yep.
Turned the team around. That man he'll have a statue in the Motor City in 5 years, even if he doesn't win a Super Bowl.
Yep. Minnesota, the Vikings, Kevin O'Connell. I love that guy. He's a great head coach, and I think they've got something bright there.
What he's done with that offense and without Kirk Cousins, especially after the hard start. You got to remember, they started 1-4 too. So the fact that even through the injury with Kirk, they're back to 6-6 right now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. He's a great head, and even watching Hard Knocks too, you just get to see he's just a good guy, and he's. I've said this 100 times on the podcast, but the difference between a great head coach and a bad head coach, and Josh McDaniels was a bad head coach because of this, is a great head coach will build a system around his players. a bad head coach will try to force his players
To adapt to a system.
adapt to his system, and that's what Josh McDaniels did. And Kevin O'Connell, you can just see it day in day out. He's like, Kurt, if you see it, you do it. Like, he puts his trust in his players. He builds a good system. I love Kevin O'Connell. Matt LaFleur, I think, is the same way. He's a great head coach, and I think he needs more credit for that turnaround in Green
The fact
Bay as
that
well.
last year you went 8-9 with Rodgers, and then you turn around and you're probably going to do about the same with Jordan Love, is a good accomplishment.
It is.
Like that is plus points. That is
yeah.
giving him more reasons to build in the offseason. They're not going to compete for a Super Bowl, but they could squeak into the playoffs, and he should have all the confidence from Green Bay right now.
Yep, absolutely. And like we said with the Bears earlier, unfortunately, I think we both feel they're going to do well enough to keep Eberflus, which is a mistake.
At that point, though, Eberflus has improved the defense, though.
He has.
So, and he's a defensive coach. So maybe you just fire the OC. Like I said, top option for me is firing Eberflus because I don't think he's the guy. But also, I think we've seen that sometimes maybe a good OC can can turn things around.
When they hired him, he wasn't even in the head coach carousel. He wasn't even in the listed names. I mean,
was
it was
such
such a
a left field.
bizarre hire, dude. NFC South, get Arthur Smith the fuck out of there.
Yep,
But,
we already called that. Talking about one.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if they make the playoffs, I think they keep Bowles. If they don't, I think they move on. And if they move on from Bowles, I'm a little worried about Baker because the next head coach is probably going to want to get their own thing going there.
Yep, but I think they're good enough to keep Bulls. The hard part, though, with Bulls is their defense has been a problem, and you're a defensive head coach, so that might buy you another shot, but it also might cause him to be surprised because they're predicting that this offseason will see the most head coaching turnover of all time.
We're going to see a lot because
Yep.
Dennis Allen is also going to be out in New Orleans. I'm going to call that right now because
Really?
Yep, I
Derek
think,
Carr's failed there.
Well,
I'm
and-
sorry.
but,
Love him.
But here's the thing: the Saints, do they have a great defense?
yes.
Okay, look at their offensive list: Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr has obviously been struggling, but with how good your defense is and your offensive pieces, you should have a winning record right now. There's no reason they should be 5-7. Dennis Allen, there's a reason he failed. He failed the first time as a head coach. He's failing the second time. He's going to be out in New Orleans.
I just don't think he's head coach. Great DC.
Yeah,
Great
absolutely.
DC, but just not head coach
He's
material.
just like Wade Phillips. Great defensive coordinator. Some coordinators are great coordinators. They just are not meant to be head coaches.
Apparently, Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
Which I mean, I think
Was-
he was
was-
such a bad head coach it even calls
Josh
into
McDaniels isn't
question
even a.
his offensive
He's not a
coordinator
good
success.
offensive coordinator. Tom Brady was his offensive coordinator.
Mac Jones gives him some credence. He made Mac Jones look all right.
I suppose.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
I suppose.
I have all the reason in the world to shit on the guy. So
Yeah.
do you, but I will give him a small kudos. to
So
the fact
is that
he's
also a slight to Bill O'Brien? Because Bill O'Brien.
hands down?
Yeah.
terrible.
Yep.
College offensive coordinator.
Yep.
He doesn't belong in the NFL anymore.
No,
Not
he
a hot
doesn't.
take, but yeah, you had DeAndre Hopkins and like J.J. Watt, and you somehow couldn't make anything work in Houston. Get this man the
Yep.
fuck out of the NFL.
No, 100%. This is an interesting one. Who do the Panthers go after this offseason? If they got rid of Reich, so do they go after a big name splash or do they?
A bad big name splash, though. I feel like David Tepper swings big, but he misses on this.
Do they
Who is
go after
someone-
a college head coach? Is he gonna try to Matt Rule it again? I know he
You
did.
know what would be the craziest fucking thing? Ryan Day from Ohio State. I don't think Ryan Day's given any indication he's going to leave. Like, if anybody's looking to leave, it's Harbaugh. But I don't think Harbaugh wants to go to that shitty of a team. Like, I think
No.
Harbaugh wants to go to a team that's on that cusp
Harbaugh,
that he can take
Harbaugh
over
might
the
go to
top.
the Chargers, and that terrifies me.
You shut your fucking mouth.
That terrifies
Shut your
me.
mouth. I know everybody's predicted because the Chargers is the sexiest head coaching vacancy.
They are.
predicted.
It's because they have
Predicted. They have Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
You
but
you have a guy who's right there on the top 5
you have
status.
talent galore on both sides of the ball. Yep.
You're in Los Angeles. You're in a beautiful stadium. I mean, it's not yours, but you're
They're borrowing.
you're renting.
They're renting it
yeah,
from the
you're
Rams,
renting,
but yeah,
you know, yeah, like
Yep.
hey, you can say it's yours when
Yeah.
on the weekends. You know, when your parents leave.
it's a duplex.
Yep. Wouldn't that be fucking hilarious
They
if
live
they
in the
actually had it?
smaller basement portion of the duplex, not the
Yeah.
nice portion.
They have like a leaky
yep.
fucking locker room and everything. But no,
I'm really curious who the Panthers go after this year, though.
I think David Tepper's not going to spare expense, but the hard part is who wants to accept a job that has been shown to be so micromanaged from up top? Like, if they were just talking about it on the McAfee show. Like, why would you want to walk into a building that you know you're getting calls from the owner multiple times a day? Like, he's involved, but he's too involved.
He
doesn't know.
early stage Jerry Jones.
Early Jerry Jones, yeah,
Yep.
because Jerry's back the fuck off, and you see what happens now that Steven's running the team, and you know
Yeah.
you got guys in there like Steven took
Yeah.
time to go through the Cowboys system and learn how to football. Jerry just bought it and thought he was a business owner.
Yep.
You know, it's any other business, and that's how David Tepper's treating this, and he needs to back the fuck off.
Yeah.
Because he's the reason this team is as bad. They were
Yep.
7-10 last year. They should not be this bad, but they
No.
are.
Yeah.
They are.
They improved. They got Bryce Young is. I don't think he is a bust. I think
he's in a
just
bad
in a
situation.
Yep.
Yep.
So.
And he's going to take time to learn too. Just remember, kid's like 22. He came out early.
Yep.
You know, CJ had a lot better system put around him as far as things go.
NFC West Niners definitely boot Shanahan. He's out.
Fucking weak.
That division, no head coaching changes. There's no way anybody changes in that division.
Yeah, because I think Gannon's too
Yep.
new.
Yep. There, unless McVay steps down, he almost stepped down this year. So I don't know. That's McVay is very.
I think he
shaky
was
right
just.
now.
I think he needed a mental break. But I think they're having fun out there, man. Like, let's not
Yeah.
act like it's all doom and gloom. Like,
Yeah.
this is a
They're on a 3-game win streak right now.
5-12
Yeah.
team that is 6-6.
Yeah.
They're already past expectations.
Yep.
You should be grateful for where you're at. The hard part is, though, is Aaron Donald retires.
Yeah.
I think he was already on the cusp last year. I think this year you didn't compete, you didn't win. It's not looking like you're going to in the near future.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's gone, or he wants a 1-year trade to a contender.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not bad in LA. But like I said, NFC West, no change.
Imagine if Aaron Donald goes to the Bills with Von Miller up there.
Oh my God, we don't know if Von Miller's going to be up there.
That's true.
No,
No, he was
shaky things. Or
he
is
was
that-
he was cleared. Yeah,
he's cleared.
she-
Okay, good.
They she came out and said that didn't happen, and it was all dropped apparently.
Because Vaughn has always seemed like
He's
the
a very classy
stand-up
guy.
dude. So like, I mean, I can see where an argument got out of hand, but I don't think.
Yeah, no, I
I was very.
I got a
you know,
push
I wanna believe the
notification from
victim.
Sleeper saying that the victim said that it didn't happen.
Who Sleeper
Yeah.
was on it? Okay.
Yeah, so
Looking out for your IDP there.
yeah.
God.
AFC East, yeah, Bill Belichick. We'll get to him in a minute. Actually, let's
Bill
start from the
stays.
top.
He's done too much to not. If he wants to stay, he stays. It's up to him, though. I think.
McDermott is on the hot seat. I think.
I agree. I think Saleh is.
Saul and
on there,
McDermott
too.
are both on the hot seat. That could be changed. But you think Bill Belichick stays, huh? Because there's been rumor mill about him going to the Chargers too.
Yes, like I said, I think it's his choice. I don't think Robert Kraft fires the man who made your franchise.
Oh no, Robert
Period.
Kraft won't fire.
Period.
No,
But
this
Bill
will be complete.
Belichick, I'm giving it 60-40 odds he stays. I still got 40% he resigns.
What if he trades himself to the Chargers and for for like a 7th round pick, and then he
The
also
Patriots.
I'm gonna trade
will
my
pick up
s-
all of the head coach's salary for the next
Yeah,
4 years.
I'm gonna
but
trade-
I'm trading myself to the Chargers.
Yep, and myself and 3 first-round picks for a 7th-round pick.
Yeah, so I'm taking Jawan Bentley with me, Ramondre Stevenson, and everybody else can eat a dick. So. Yeah, he takes like 5 defensive players no one's heard of.
Yep.
It's like, I got Jawan Bentley on my fantasy squad. He's been balling this year. Giovanni Latu has been fucking
Yep.
balling. Like, guys you never hear of that are Patriots superstars on their 2-10 team.
Yep.
But I think, I think he's
I say I don't. That's where
once
you and I
again,
are going to respectively
60-40,
disagree.
I think he stays. It gets sentimental. You want all the titles there, but it's a rough situation. I just
It
don't
would-
think Bill's the guy to run.
It would be weird seeing him on a different
Yeah,
team.
I just don't think he's too old school to run from the grind. Like, I think if
Yeah.
anything, he bows out and lets somebody else take a shot. But going to another team, that would just be weird.
That would be.
Next division.
AFC North, Ravens unchanged, Browns unchanged,
Unchanged,
Steelers, nope, they're not going to get rid of Tomlin. Bengals aren't. Nope, nobody changes.
Zach Taylor brought you to a Super Bowl. That
Yeah.
man is.
He's got
if
his-
Marvin Lewis got 16 years with the Bengals, extend that man 20 years right now.
Yeah.
Marvin Lewis got 16 years with like 5 playoff appearances. Zach Taylor's there for life.
He is.
Like,
AFC South, Peterson safe, Striking safe. Obviously, D'Amico Ryan's a safe. Vrabel, that's a wish. I think he's
hot take, he's out.
You think so?
He's out.
They fired the GM for him.
No, I think they fired the GM. I think Rod Crathan gave Vrabel 1 year, and this is not the year.
Yeah.
You went out and got DeAndre Hopkins in year 4 and 8.
That-
Now, from the outside, we're not surprised. But
Yep.
there's got to be some fucking heads rolling there in Tennessee. I think they finish out the year, but not surprising, Vrabel's gone. I think he is gone.
Okay. I could
Does
totally
he
see
deserve
that.
to be? No. He's an NFL head coach. He'll get a shot somewhere else. He will be one of the guys both fired and hired this offseason, but I think he's out of Tennessee. I think he wants to be too.
Belichick leaves, Vrabel takes over, and
That is my number one. If Vrabel does leave, I do think, and it is a sort of passing of the guard, that would increase the chances Belichick leaves, just because he knows that
Vrabel's
it's in a good
legacy is in
situation.
New England. Yep.
Yep.
AFC West, I think this is finally the year they fire Staley, and then the Raiders are going to be on the hunt for a new head coach. And let's not rule out Harbaugh for Vegas too. That's
Right now, here's from what I hear inside. Obviously, being a fan, I kind of follow the insiders a little bit more. What I'm hearing, not saying this is true, what I'm hearing is this is Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly's jobs to lose.
Okay.
It is their jobs to lose. Mark Davis wants the Raider way back. He's not happy with the way McDaniels changed it to the Patriot way. Mark Davis wants to bring back the Raiders, and he wants to win as the Raiders, and he will spend any amount of money that it needs to be. He has shown that by trading for Devontae Adams and engineering that deal. He's shown that by signing Max Crosby to an extension. I think Josh gets signed to an extension. I think this becomes a team that you then see the players take over. You're going to see Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, Josh Jacobs are the leaders of this team.
Yep.
And I think they are. The firing of Josh McDaniels mid-season proved that. I think that put a stake in the ground of this is how the Raiders are going to be run, not just this year, but going forward. I think Max Crosby is heavily involved in the head coaches in the head coaching discussion, and why shouldn't he be?
And when
And
Devontae
why shouldn't he
started
be?
speaking out against the Raiders and wanting to be off the team, I think that was because I think the week after Devontae was speaking out on social media is when they fired Josh McDaniels.
Yep. Steve was like, I'm tired of this. He's like, I don't know. And actually, I don't think it was Devontae. I think it was Josh Jacobs that was the big crux in there, because they asked him, like, how do you fix the offense? And he looked at the camera and he said, I don't know. It's not my fucking job. And Josh Jacobs, throughout everything, throughout his contract holdout, throughout everything, Josh Jacobs has been known to be someone of very little words.
Yep.
He might tweet something cryptic. He might keep it, but he mostly keeps it pretty professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very, very low word count, basic statements. So for him to be boldly enough to go, not my fucking job, that was proven that, he's like, I'm doing everything I can do here, but I'm doing my job. It's not mine to fix the offense because I'm already doing everything I can.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hot take, I think, because let's homer a little bit. We got a little bit of time before we probably want to get going. But Raiders schedule, let's bring it up. So probably homerdom here. I think we can beat Minnesota. We can beat LA. Chiefs is probably a loss. Indianapolis could be a win, and Denver could be a win.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're looking at a tough schedule, but something that I think if we go 3-2 in this stretch, so you say we beat Minnesota today, we beat the Chargers, we lose to KC, we beat Indianapolis, we lose to Denver. That's what my gut's telling me right now. 3-2, we finish at 8-9. Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly keep their jobs.
Okay.
I'm going to call that one right now because I think there's a buy-in with Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to get better pieces. You might need to get more experience
You need
for
a
those
quarterback?
coaches. Yes. Jaden Daniels, calling it right now.
Okay.
Calling it right now. He played for Antonio Pierce at Arizona State and only left after Pierce did. He transferred to LSU the same year Pierce took our linebacking coach's job and left as the interim head coach of Arizona State. And he shouted him out in his Heisman winning speech last night.
Okay.
So I'm calling it right now. Jaden Daniels to the Raiders is what I want more than anything. Caleb Williams is the star of the class. Drake May is fantastic. We're not going to be picking that high, but we're going quarterback, and I think Jaden Daniels is our guy.
All right.
But I love having AOC there as a backup.
Jane Daniel, LSU?
LSU.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I know
not- I don't watch college very much.
you'll get more in your draft prep. I know
Yeah.
in the next couple of months. So I'm just early birding.
Yeah. Okay.
like a
Perfect.
motherfucker. What do you think the future holds in Denver? Like, what do you guys finish with, and what are your moves going forward?
My gut tells me that we're gonna sneak into the 7th seed, but we're gonna
Be overmatched.
we'll get knocked out of the playoffs. We're not going to the Super Bowl. I'm not that delusional, but I do think we sneak into the 7th seed.
What does the quarterback position look like in Denver going
Russell
forward?
Wilson will be there the next 3 years. I think that
Through his contract?
Yep. I think that what will happen is we're going to have a shuffling up of the offensive tools. I think Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy will both be gone. I think we might trade up and draft a receiver this year. I think this is my hot take. I think we're going to sign Mike Evans in the offseason. I think we're gonna let Sutton go and sign Mike Evans. I think that Peyton he had Michael Thomas in New Orleans. He wants his stud wide receiver and Jerry
Hot.
Judy's.
Hot take. Why is Cortland Sutton not him? I've watched Cortland Sutton play this year. Tell me why he's not him. Tell me why he's not a wide receiver one though. Like, I mean, he's
Is he a wide receiver one? Yes.
Yes.
But
is he Mike Evans? No.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. We have lost games because of Cortland Sutton this year because we would have beaten the Texans last week if he hadn't dropped all those passes in the first half.
That's fair.
Him and Jerry Jeudy. I don't think any two wide receivers on a team have combined for more drop passes. It's unbelievable. Well, the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been bad. Yeah,
I just want to check who has the most drops. Yeah.
Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy have been dropping balls left and right, but I think that I don't think either of them are an alpha wide receiver one, and I think that Peyton wants Russ to have an alpha, and I think that Mike Evans can be him. Mike Evans is a top 5 wide receiver in this league. He's phenomenal. I think he's the most criminally underrated, most criminally underrated wide receiver in football.
No one, and I repeat, fucking no one has had 10,000-yard seasons to start their career.
Nope.
Nobody.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
If not just a fucking, ode to consistency.
And with an absolutely revolving door at quarterback. It doesn't matter who his quarterback is.
Yeah, I mean, he had Brady. Cool, but like you're looking the bumpers around that are Jameis Winston and Baker Mayfield. Talk about like top tier backup status.
Yeah.
Like so, and he made those guys starters. Like Baker, as much as we love, let's not act like Mike Evans isn't the reason he's having his best year.
Yeah.
Like, also on your Denver Broncos, you guys actually only have 11 drops, 24th in the league. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th best.
But I think the situation,
it's situational.
They're dropping critical passes when we need them.
Well,
now,
and it's probably all between Sutton and Judy. So.
Yeah, but no, I don't think Judy's a Denver Bronco next year.
I don't either. No, I think there's too much traction the last couple of years to where someone wants to revive him, but it's just
and that really wasn't a referendum on Cortland Sutton at all. Because in my heart, like my dream scenario would be if we keep Cortland Sutton, let Judy go, and grab Mike Evans. If we could have Evans and Sutton, 2 big body field stretching threats,
take the wide receiver one-ness out of Cortland Sutton and let him cook as a high productive 2.
Yeah, let him be our T. Higgins.
Great comparison.
Yep.
I give that there. So,
yeah, no, that's my dream scenario this offseason. I think that we're built to win a championship. I think we just need more time for Peyton's system to develop and for everybody to.
Year one,
had
the
terrible
turnaround
head
is
coaches,
already...
so I think that by year 3 into Sean Payton's system, Russ has 2 years left on his contract. I think that's when we're going to start making that's where we're going to be clawing it out with Kansas City for that division every year.
Well, and I think this year, I don't think a first-round quarterback is in the cards, but there's depth and talent in this class to start going the old Ron Wolf philosophy. You take a quarterback every draft, no matter where. Maybe you hit on somebody.
Yeah.
Like maybe you go for one of the later round prospects this year. Like, hey, I love Aiden O'Connell. Do I think he's our starter? Probably not.
No.
Do I think he's a great backup for us to have the next 4 years on a fucking 4th-round rookie deal? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the fact that anybody we get to come in,
Who are your top 5 quarterbacks?
I knew you were going to ask that, so I'm pulling up the sheet right now.
Obviously, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden.
Yep, so right now I have Caleb Williams as number 1.
Yep.
Number 1 player on my board. 1 of 1. Number 1 quarterback, number 1 player.
Yep.
I don't think that he's had some tough spots this year, but he's still quarterback 1. He's Patrick Mahomes with a little bit more speed. He has that like schoolyard playmaking, ultra uber pocket awareness, ability to break tackles, ability to just like a sixth sense for a quarterback.
So you think he's going to be the Patriots quarterback?
Whoever finished is number 1, and I think if the Bears get the number 1 pick, they get a fucking ransom. A ransom. I'm talking almost 4 number 1s would not be out of the question.
Yeah.
For Caleb Williams, he's going to change a franchise day 1. Like they're talking, I think, and I don't know if I maybe stretch it this far because I haven't seen him in the NFL. But they're saying day 1 he's a top 10 quarterback, and I think the talent is there for that. It's going to depend what's around him.
Top 5 teams that try to trade for him.
Top 5 teams.
Obviously,
New England.
Patriots.
New England's number one
Yep.
on that list. The Raiders, because we were aggressive for C.J. Stroud last year, so I think that mentality in the building is still going to be there. Also, Caleb's listed them as one of the 5 teams he really wants to play for. So there's. I'm not saying that as a homer. That is a realistic option. As well, let's not rule out the Bears just keeping the pick,
Yep.
thinking that, hey, 2 years more of Caleb or 3 years more of Caleb Williams is better than Justin Fields. We're going to have to pay Justin Fields in a couple of years. Even then, let's start over with Caleb Williams and just see what he can do for us. So on top of that, I don't know, though, how many teams are going to trade up in this class just because you also have Drake May there. So some teams might be adept to just staying. Where the Falcons stay or end up, I think could get them to trade up for one of those guys. I don't know about number 1, just because if you're sitting here at like number 20, you have to give up talent. So I think in that situation, you're talking 2 firsts and Kyle Pitts or a top talent. You're not trading Bijan, but Kyle Pitts or Drake London could be a part of that trade equation.
Yep. Just like DJ Moore was.
Exactly. Like we have a blueprint now. Other than that, I'm trying to think of teams off the
I
top of my
got a
head.
couple dark horse teams.
Yep.
3 of them actually. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Could be, depending on the
Dark
Baker's
horse.
choice. Yep.
A team that I don't think anybody's thinking about, but the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
I think they're
Only thing I say no on is they are so tied to Derek Carr. If our contract was bad with him, this is horrendous. They committed to him.
yeah. That's true.
I was looking into it. They can't get out for anything that for anything less than what would be considered a financial disaster. You're talking like $60 million over the next 2 years of dead cap that you can only prorate out so much.
Yep.
Like you're handicapping a team that's already handicapped in the salary cap.
a team that I think has consistently surprised people in the drafts because nobody thinks about them until they actually make the moves in the draft, and a team that's in a division that is very competitive and it's a grindy division, the Seattle Seahawks.
I could see it because Gino has been touch and go.
Yep. And, if they're going to compete with the Niners every year, they're going to need a perennial quarterback to help.
You want my biggest shocker for trade up so far?
Yeah.
You know who I think is going to be the most aggressive in doing it?
Yep.
The Minnesota Vikings. You have Justin Jefferson. You have Jordan Addison. You
Yeah.
have 2 top 20. You have the number 1 receiver and another a guy who's proven top 20 in his absence his rookie year. Be aggressive. Even if it's not Caleb or Drake and it's like a Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix, someone you sit for a year behind Kirk, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done this year.
Yep.
So if you don't want to bring Kirk back and he, especially coming off an Achilles, you don't have to. Like they didn't have a contract for him. So they're open. And right now, where they fall at the end of the season, like they're 6-6, that could be a fast road downhill. You end up with the top 15 pick. Trading up is not out of the question there.
Yeah.
I think Chicago is probably going to end up with the picks and save the Panthers. And they're going to want, a ransom for it. But I think at the end of the day, you still trade for almost anything if you're not going to pick Caleb Williams because you're still going to be top 10 from there. But I don't think they want to move all that much.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Finishing up my top 10 quarterbacks, though, Caleb Williams 1, Drake May 2. I got Jaden Daniels 3 just because of his ceiling. I do like guys like Bo Nix and Michael Penix, who are my 4th and 5th quarterback on here, a little bit more. Day 1 to start for your teams, but Jaden Daniels, he's given me like Josh Allen upside.
Okay.
Like Anthony Richardson upside. You're talking a guy who's like a 4 or 5 quarterback, shotgun arm, who has just made leaps and bounds every single year as a player, and I like his moxie as an individual.
Yeah.
I think he's a leader. He's a guy people want to follow. He's shown that at every level, even with the mistakes, and he's deadly with his legs, which is, I think, crucial for young quarterbacks.
Yep.
You got to move in today's NFL.
Yeah.
You have to.
You have to. Yep.
So, but yeah, should we call her there? And
Yep.
get
I'm
some
good, man.
time to-
Yeah. Let's go watch some football. Let's
do it.
All right, brother.
To you.
To you.